My name is Kathy Dwyer, and I am a graduate from the University of Georgia, where I was a scholar athlete in the sport of gymnastics. We also won a national championship, the second one that Georgia won as a team in 1989. And now I own U.S. Gold Gymnastics and Cheerleading, and I'm also have gotten children's gymnastics scholarships, and I am a mother of a gymnast. We want to talk about what happens during a typical college athlete student's day. And typically for gymnastics purposes, we compete from January to April. And that means that we went to about 3 away trips a year. I remember going to UCLA, and while we're out there on the coast, we also competed in Utah. So we were gone for those away trips. We were gone for up to about 5 days at a time. So during that time of the year, we really cut back on how many classes we took and what we did take. But on the other parts of the year, summer through all the way to January, it was load up on classes. In fact, a lot of us stayed in the summer and also took classes also so that we could graduate on time. A lot of times nowadays, especially, I see that it takes kids at least 5 years to get a 4-year degree, especially if they're a student athlete. And that's not uncommon anymore. Let's see, the other part of our days with gymnastics is that we had to take morning classes. We could not take anything in the afternoons because we had to practice between 1 and 4. Also in gymnastics, as I'm sure it is with other sports, there's a certain allotted time that you can practice during the week. And in gymnastics, we were only allowed to practice 20 hours a week. And that was pretty well documented, as you have to try to keep the playing field fair. Some of the biggest challenges I saw as an athlete at Georgia were that some girls weren't ready to handle life away from their family and away from their friends. And in fact, we lost 2 or 3 girls the 3 years I was at Georgia, as far as they couldn't. One girl couldn't even get up to go to classes, and she flunked out, and a lot of girls didn't even know how to do their own laundry, clean up after themselves. So these are things, as now a coach, that I hear from coaches at colleges that are coming to look at my kids to move on to the NCAA is, I hate to say it, but does the kid have common sense? Does she know how to do those things? Can she take care of herself? Another thing I hear from the coaching staffs at the universities is they really don't want to talk to the parents as much as they want to know who you are. They don't, and I know that's hard as a parent. You know, I can imagine, mine's 7, but as your parents will tell you, they want to be very, very involved. And I'm hearing that the coaching staff doesn't want to get to know your parents, they want to get to know you, as you will be the one going off to the university, not your parents. So maybe you could keep that in mind when you go on your recruiting trips, and help your parents realize that also, that the less they're involved and the more they can show that you are the young athlete and the young adult that you are, would be a benefit for you. And although it's a lot of work, there's a lot of benefits to being a student athlete. I can remember that, again, going to a big university like the University of Georgia, you know, signing up for your classes, if you are just a regular student, you know, you have to wait in these enormously long lines, and you probably didn't get all the classes in the times that you wanted to. Well, whereas a student athlete, you got to walk in 2 days before everybody else with your college athletic director. They're helping you, making sure that you got every class you wanted first before any of the other any other students got their time to their classes. So even as a walk-on gymnast, as I was my first year at University of Georgia, I still received those benefits, along with every other benefit that any of the other scholar athletes did also. Meaning that sometimes there's a stigma attached to being a walk-on, meaning maybe some of you wouldn't want to pursue that activity because you don't think you're going to be treated the same, or again, you're going to be treated differently than you would a scholarship athlete. But my experience at Georgia, and I had an athlete walk on to University of Florida, and she agrees with me wholeheartedly that she was never treated differently than any of the other athletes. You still get an opportunity to work out with everybody else. You still get the opportunity to be in the lineup. You still get all the clothes and the benefits and the tutoring. I got private tutoring from many of the professors that I did not have to pay for myself, even as a walk-on. I got all the benefits from computer and study halls, and everything that they got to help them become a better student as well as an athlete was offered to me also. I still got to go on all the away trips. Of course, my plane ticket was paid for just like any scholarship athlete. And I got to compete on the team, as my score did count on vault for our 1989 national championship, NCAA all around, we did that year. So again, it's the same thing, you just don't have your tuition paid. So as time went on, I did earn a scholarship for my work that I did at Georgia, and then my last year I was injured and unable to compete, and so I was awarded a medical scholarship, which means that my tuition was still paid and everything was paid for. I just didn't compete anymore or work out with the team. So those are all wonderful benefits to being a student athlete, along with you're already there. Before you get there, you're already part of a family. You don't have to walk around campus or hope that your roommate is going to be nice and that kind of thing. You already know her because she's part of your team. So those are all great benefits that you already get. Plus you get to know even not just them, but a lot of schools you are in a dorm with all the other athletes, not just regular students. So you're in the dorm with a lot of other athletes that also go through the same thing you go through. So there's not a lot of late night partying that you might find in other dorms, because we all have to get up early and we all have things we have to do. If you are interested in earning a scholarship in the sport of gymnastics, I would suggest that in your junior high, middle school years that you start picking schools that you would like to go to and that interest you, and go to their summer gymnastics camps and get to know the coaching staff and let them get to know you. In gymnastics especially, they communicate with NCAA coaches through videos, nowadays especially. And they see hundreds of videos every day of little girls that are just as good as you are. So what needs to have you stand out is face-to-face communication. Let them get to know your personality. Let them get to know who you are. That way, when your video does show up on their doorstep, they can say, oh yeah, I saw Susie at camp this summer. As well as that also, you want to go ahead and make sure you're communicating with the coaches all the time. Every time you get a new skill, put it on video and send it to the university. Also too, have your top 3 schools ready and on your mind and really work on those schools, but you need to have a backup plan, because even though they say they want you, until you sign the dotted line, you're not on that team until that happens. So don't be caught off guard if they are acting like they want you and then all of a sudden, boom, you didn't get offered the scholarship. It's always good to have a backup plan. And as I said before, when you do go on your recruiting trip, you want to make sure that mom and dad are in the background, you are in the forefront. Another comment that just came in from an NCAA coach about one of my kids who just got offered a scholarship was that the first thing out of her mouth wasn't, when am I going to compete? He was totally caught off guard, because apparently that's what 99.9% of the kids ask. When am I going to compete? What are you going to do for me? What's my contribution going to be to this team? And it was a very refreshing interview he had with her. And in fact, she did get the scholarship, the last one left. And I feel not only because she's a great student athlete and a great young lady, is because of that kind of attributes that she has. And it wasn't just about her. It's what can I do for the team? Where do you need me? Instead of what am I going to get out of this? And if you're interested in getting a gymnastics scholarship, I suggest that you sign up at your local gymnastics school as soon as possible. Especially in the sport of gymnastics, it takes years and years and years to develop the high-level skills that is needed at the NCAA level. So get into your gymnastics school, find one that's a good fit for you, and start training hard. Good luck, and I wish you the best.